Hi guys, very welcome to Mentor and yet another video podcast. I hope you're all doing fantastic out there. So today on the podcast we're going to be talking a little bit about what do pilots do on their time off and how much annual leave as a vacation will you get as a pilot, and will you have a chance to spend some time at your destinations if you fly somewhere nice. So stay tuned, I hope you're going to like this one. Right, so when it comes to the annual leave will differ between different airlines. Okay, so in some airlines you might have 25 days, some airlines you might have 35 days. It will also be different depending on if you can use your existing rostered off days together with your annual leave or not. So, just as an example, I'll give you in my airline, we have what's called wraparound days available. So this means that if you're working on a solid roster, which most of us are, working 5 days off 4 days, it means that you can take your annual leave and use your existing off days to extend the annual leave. So in my example, for example, that would be you take out 5 days of annual leave, means that you have 4 days off, 5 days annual leave, then followed with 4 days off, which means that you have 13 days of off time for every 5 days of annual leave you're taking out. Okay, and that of course will give you the opportunity to do a lot of things. You can go for several long trips every year if that's what you like. Some airlines might make you take out a complete calendar month because it's easier to roster that way. And you know, there are as many different variants to annual leave schemes as there is for as there is airlines really. Problems when it comes to annual leave tends to be to get annual leave during the most busy holiday seasons. So over Christmas or over, if you're coming from the northern part of Europe, over summer, for example, because that's traditionally when a lot of people are traveling. And when a lot of people are traveling, there needs to be a lot of people flying the aircraft they're traveling on. So pilots have traditionally had problems getting annual leave on those dates. All right. When it comes to the question of whether or not you can kind of stay around when you go somewhere nice in your working week, that also differs depending on what kind of a job you have. So if you're working for a long-haul company, for example, it is likely that you will have stopovers. So you might fly from Barcelona to Los Angeles, then you might have a night stop there, and then you might fly back again or continue on the route. Okay. Back in the good old days, we tended to be able to stop for maybe 48 hours at a place, which meant that you had time to, you know, go out, do some sightseeing, enjoy the place a little bit until you continued on. Nowadays, however, the airlines try to get as many flight hours out of you as possible, which means that it's likely that you're going to have minimum rests on your stops. So that might still be enough for you to go out and enjoy the local cuisine or enjoy the scenery or do the odd sightseeing trip. But it's unlikely that you're going to have several days where you can kind of enjoy on. It's more going to be just for you to rest yourself down, to be fully fit to fly back or your next leg. All right. There are still companies out there, mainly charter companies, which will have longer stops, so that it still exists, but it's less common now than it was maybe back in the 70s or 80s. My experience, though, is that, you know, generally when you're out working, you just want to get back home as soon as you can. So you want to just rest yourself down, avoid getting as much jet lag as possible, and then get yourself back. And with the kind of annual leave concessions that you have as an airline pilot, it's fully possible to do that and to use a lot of your annual leave to take your family or your friends and go for trips instead, which is actually really what you want to do. Now, to the question of what do we do? Well, you know, we're like people are most, so I'll give you a few examples of what I like to do on my annual leave. So for now, I hope you enjoy this podcast. Once again, I hope you have had time to check out my application, Mentor 360. It's available on both iOS and for Android. And very soon I will release my new app. Okay, I hope that every one of you who sees this is going to download it. It's going to be completely free to download, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. So it's going to be very, very soon. I'll let you know. Until then, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.